What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Coronavirus Sports Boredom Show. This is Ethan here with JD, filming today on a very special day. It's Jackie Robinson Day that we're filming this. Probably release it a couple days later, but regardless, that's where we're going to start it off. Talking about the great Jackie Robinson, his life, his legacy. We'll start with you, JD. What are your thoughts on him?
I mean, Jackie Robinson is an iconic player. 42, the number 42. If we had baseball today, everyone would be wearing the number 42, as tradition, the MLB has it. I mean, one of the best things with Jackie Robinson that I love is, besides all of everything he did for the sport, being the first one Black African American to play, to stealing home 20 times and being really old last time he did it, and all those just iconic things that Jackie did. My personal favorite is stealing home. Anytime you see a Jackie Robinson clip, him stealing home, always just amazing. Because I think he really brought another aspect to the game that no other player can do, and that's what Jackie Robinson will always be considered one of the most iconic pioneers of baseball.
Yep, yeah, for sure. I mean, to me, he was a dude who wasn't just a great baseball player, but he was an unbelievable competitor. He was a tremendous American, the American spirit, right? Him, his perseverance and him being in the Army and missing a couple of prime years potentially of his career, didn't get to the show until he was 28. But another thing about Jackie is he was just a crazy good athlete. Like, I don't think a lot of people understand just what a freak of nature this guy was. He's a 4-sport letter winner at a huge college at UCLA, great athletics college. To me, he was almost like Jim Thorpe years after Jim Thorpe. He could have done that. Some people even said baseball would have been his worst sport. But his contributions to the game of baseball, I mean, integration happened in baseball and was phasing in throughout the 1950s because of what he did. You think about the civil rights movement, a lot of that was going on in the 1960s. And so baseball was essentially ahead of its time because of the bravery of this man to break the ice. It's quite possible that integration wouldn't have happened in baseball until the 70s or the 80s even. And that means we're losing the great careers of guys like Roy Campanella, Don Newcomb, one of the best of all time, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Frank Robinson, and way more guys than that. And it was ahead of its time. And, you think before that, all the guys that should be household names, should be legends, some of the great Negro League players, you think about Martin DeHigo, Oscar Charleston, Chino Smith, Cristobal Torriente, Buck Leonard, and even the great Josh Gibson are all super underrated guys. And it's sad that those guys never got their opportunity in the show, but thank God for Jackie Robinson and the fact that so many guys did get that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, Jackie Robinson is just iconic. He's truly what a baseball player, his legacy should be. But
Yep, I mean, quite possibly he's by no means the best, but he's pretty darn good, and he is quite possibly the most iconic baseball player and the one with the most impact on the game of all time.
Exactly, 100%. Well, speaking of another iconic person, Sterling Moss died at the age of 90. They call him the greatest driver to never win a championship. I mean, what do you? I mean, I don't know much about Sterling Moss. I don't follow much overseas racing, but what do you love about Sterling Moss the most?
Yeah, to me, I mean, he was just the very picture of nobility, of a gentleman racer. Obviously, he's far and away the greatest never to win the world championship, but I think that far more than what he did on the racetrack was what he did, in Portugal in 1958 when he's contending for the world championship and Mike Hawthorne is under investigation for a possible penalty. And he came and he backed up Mike Hawthorne that he should have got those points, kept that finish. And ultimately, it's a big part of why Hawthorne won the world championship. And I think that it was Enzo Ferrari, the legendary team boss, probably summed it up best when he said, if Moss had put reason before passion, he would have been world champion many times. So to me, this is a guy who not just represented brilliance on the track, but was just such an amazing dude.
Yeah, for sure. And, there's a lot of unknowns out there. who die, who have great careers, who pass on. But
Yep.
Sterling
Yeah,
Moss
and
is a guy that we should not forget.
yeah, and like you say, I mean, Sterling's. I know you're more of a NASCAR guy, you know, and I follow racing. Most of it's NASCAR still, but this is a dude who is such a great guy, had such a great impact on people, and even just for what he did off the track is worth remembering. And moving now from the passing of Mr. Motor Racing, Sterling Moss, to another sad event, though in a very different way. The information that the XFL, which was pretty successful in its first season, is going to have to shut down, has no plans to return, has filed for bankruptcy. What are your thoughts on this occurrence here, JD?
Well, also excuse me eating. I like Twizzlers snacking, but you know, such a shame, dude. When I found out that they disbanded the league, I was mad, sad. When I found out they went bankrupt, that just hurt even more. I mean, talk about a league that had potential. Sure, it's their second time, but it's the XFL. I mean, I thought the league was pretty much a decent amount of success, and I liked that. I liked everything that went on, but you know, it's just a shame, to be honest with you. I feel for all the players. I feel for everyone there, but it's just a shame at the end of the day.
Yeah, man. I mean, the XFL, I thought, you know, you say it has potential, and it did have potential to go to another level, which is sad. But, man, it was there. It was getting a ton of views. It didn't make the mistake the AAF made. It was on a bunch of very accessible TV networks. Great football, great product on the field, safer product. It really was for the love of football. And so to see something like that, which truly was a triumph, just needed some time to get off the ground, really get hampered and take a horrible break in this unprecedented situation with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really sad. You talk about the XFL the first time, that was a terrible idea. It was dangerous. This XFL was almost the anti-XFL, where it was a safe league, a league that wasn't gimmicks. It was for the love of football, and it's so sad to everybody who was given an opportunity to play in that league. You know, all the staff, GMs and coaches who were given that opportunity. I really feel bad because I think that league had a ton of potential.
Yeah, and even shout out to like Cardell Jones, who was doing good on the Washington defenders, DC defenders, but yeah, it just I feel for everyone there. I mean, but PJ Walker, shout out to him. He had he wrote it out. Now he's a Carolina Panther back in the NFL. So
yeah, good for him, honestly.
Yeah, honestly,
and you think about the amount of guys who could have done what PJ did too, who didn't get that opportunity.
Well, I think Cardell Jones was the next guy personally.
Yep.
But anyways, moving on from the XFL, NBA Horse Challenge. I mean, we saw it over the weekend. We got Chauncey Billups moving.
We have some sort of live sports at least, man.
Yes, we do. And the shocking one, I thought, Chris Paul getting eliminated, dude. What was that about, man? Major props to Allie, though. But I mean, it was good.
For sure.
But who do you got winning this thing?
So, I mean, we got essentially 3 matchups to predict, right? We got a Final Four. Mike Conley versus Chauncey Billups. To me, that's the weaker side of the bracket. I think Chauncey showed he can still shoot the ball, of course, but I'm gonna have a hard time taking a retired guy over Mike Conley. I think Mike Conley can really shoot the rock. So I'm taking him in that matchup. Who do you got in that one?
You know, no disrespect to Chauncey, but I think this is a stronger side of the ballot, to be honest with you, the bracket. But because I think Allie's the weak link. No offense to her, but I think she's a weak link here, even though she can shoot. But I got Mike Conley winning this thing. But don't be surprised if Chauncey makes a pull off. But I got Mike Conley's athleticism winning it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, athleticism is such a big deal, and that to me is the deciding factor in this next match. Zach LaVine, Ellie Quigley, all Chicago. It's pretty cool for us. We'll have a rep in the finals here. And this is, to me, this is a close matchup. I think that they're both great shooters, but I think where Zach LaVine gets the edge is in terms of his crazy athleticism with finishing, right? We saw some of the shots where he absolutely dismantled Paul Pierce.
I know.
Because he's an older and he's less athletic dude.
Paul Pierce is no joke.
He's a great shooter, but Zach LaVine decimated him with good shots, but more importantly with athleticism. And not to say Allie Quigley's not a very capable finisher in her own right. They're both great shooters, but I think Zach gains the edge here with his athleticism a little bit. I'd say he gets to the finals. What do you think there?
Oh, definitely. I got Zach LaVine winning the whole thing, actually. Unless Mike Conley can pull off something. But I think Zach LaVine's athleticism, touching the backboard, going underneath with the layup, doing whatever he needs to do to win. So I got Zach LaVine, Mike Conley championship, LaVine winning it all. How about you?
Yep. I'm with you in that finals. I think Conley, he's had a tough season assimilating to a new team with Utah. I still think he's super talented. He's got that massive home gym. He's getting a ton of shots up. Yeah. He's doing a lot of the right things. I think he'll be great whenever this league returns too. Yeah. But for the time being, he's going to be really good in horse. But Zach LaVine is the complete package. He's got shooting. He's got that athleticism as well. I have to go with Zach LaVine, and I think that's going to be a great battle. I mean, shout-outs to any of the Final Four. I think even, Chris Paul losing, he had a great showing too. But Conley, Billups, LaVine, and Quigley are all terrific shooters and I guess terrific horse players. So, shout-outs to all of them, but I take Zach to win this.
And don't forget, though, Mike Conley indoors gives him maybe a nice little edge too. But I mean, it's going to be fun. It comes out tomorrow. We'll see what happens tomorrow in the NBA Horse Challenge. Obviously, the time this episode's probably released, everyone will know what happened, but this is our prediction, so we'll see what happens here. With sports returning in summer, we heard from Fauci, the Anthony Fauci, the Trump's appointed guy. What are your thoughts on having no fans? What do you think the players are going to think? What do you think? I mean, everyone on sports back, obviously. What do you think how the players are going to react? Specifically, we'll go into DeMarcus Cousins in a little bit, but what do you think?
Yeah, well, I feel like, first things first, I think there was a lot of hope in Dr. Fauci's statement that sports can potentially return this summer. And to me, if we don't have fans, as a fan, I don't care. I just want it happening. I want to be able to turn on my TV and see that. I want to know that in some way between those chalk lines or baselines, all is well in the world somewhere right now. And I think as Americans, we need that. I think players like LeBron James are going to have, I know he's been very outspoken against it. They're going to have a tough time adjusting just like we will, but they need to do that for us. And, as for the statement of Kirk Cousins with the Vikings, where he was saying, he's going to be fine with fanless games. He says it could even be
though
a
I don't like
breath
Kirk
of fresh
Cousins.
air.
And no one likes Kirk Cousins, though.
I think in a way he's got the right attitude. In a way he doesn't. What do you think about Cousins' statement as well?
Well, I mean, as a Packer fan, I don't like Cousins. Never have liked him since he was in Washington. I think he's overrated. I don't like the Vikings, but that's another story. Why am I getting on that? But I want sports back. I think that I don't know. I think that as fans, we'll be able to go back to games before this calendar year ends, before 2021.
I really hope so.
I think NFL games, I think we'll be able to go to NFL games, in my personal opinion, starting in September, first week or whatever. But I don't know. Really that's my opinion. So. Experts say otherwise, but I just want sports back, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
then again, NBA Finals, dude, no fans.
Hey, man, but this uncertainty is tough on all of us, but we need sports back. And going back to the statement by Kirk Cousins where he's talking about how he's fine with fanless games, there'll be a breath of fresh air. I agree with his statement. I think he's got a better mindset than a lot of athletes, but to me, he also didn't quite show the proper appreciation for his fans, right? Everybody's saying, can't wait to play back in front of the best fans in the world again, that kind of thing. And he's saying, we'll be totally fine without fans. So you have to find a balance between LeBron James and Kirk Cousins right now. To me, athletes need to be willing to go out there and play without fans, but they also need to acknowledge that the game with fans is better. To me, that's what us as fans, them as players, we all need to come to that conclusion and move on from that standpoint.
Personally, I think the NBA will the NBA Players Association, with Chris Paul as president. I think they're not going to play without fans. They're going to need some form of fans. I think they're going to get fans in June, hopefully, or July, whatever timeline. But I think the NFL would be a sport that would do no fans, just thinking of the players, you know what I mean? But I think the NBA is just beyond. I think most players would be in no.
I can see what you're saying with the NFL, right? It's almost that high school football vibe. I mean, I think players like that. They crave that, and the NFL has become blown up on such a massive level where I can see where Cousins is saying that would be a bit of a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. And I mean, you got any more thoughts on that, or are you good? Because
I'm good to go.
Speaking of the NFL, Christian McCaffrey just passed. He got $60 million a year about now, passing. He's not passing. Yeah, he did pass, but he's a top player.
He's the richest running back in the league now, right?
Dude, I can't talk today. Jeez, dude, I'm stumbling upon my words. Yeah, I gotta stop eating these Twizzlers. Maybe that's it. But anyways, yeah, he's the richest running back in the league. Anyways, he deserves it. He's been balling out. What are your thoughts on McCaffrey? And congrats to him, by the way. I think it's pretty well earned. Sure. Even though I do think some athletes get paid a little high, but that's another story.
Yep. Well, we're talking 4 years, $64 million being shelled out for an NFL running back at a position where we've seen people fall apart in a couple seasons. David Johnson, his career taking a huge downturn. So we've seen that. Yeah. But I think Christian McCaffrey is different. And I know it's a risky position to make any kind of long-term, big-time investments. But I would hope that McCaffrey, in what's become a passing league and a league where people aren't reliant on running backs, is kind of able to be a crusader in the running back agency cause. And I think he's different from guys that have fallen apart, have had big injuries. He's a young guy. He's 23 years old. He's about to turn 24 years old in this coming month, right? And the dude has not missed a game in his 3 seasons. Those are the 2 red flags for running backs: lack of durability and older guys. Those are the guys who fall apart. McCaffrey is a guy who's been in the league long enough to prove he can do it, but he's still young and super durable. So I think that if you're going to invest big in any running back, this is the guy to invest big into. I think it's a great move by the Panthers. And again, congratulations to him, a guy who's totally deserved this, and that's an awesome contract.
Well, yeah, and I think it's a good step for running backs in the right direction. Mark Ingram, different guys spoke out, including Alvin Kamara, guys that are going to want money soon, especially Alvin Kamara. But I think it's good for Christian McCaffrey. He even leads fantasy. Not that fantasy has much to do with actual team winning, but he's good. He's good.
You do bring up fantasy, right? He's so good at fantasy because he's a threat to receive and receiving out of the backfield, and he's one of the premier rushers in the league. He takes that position to a new level of versatility. We want guys who are versatile, who can do more than the traditional guy, like Lamar Jackson. He can throw the ball, but he can run the ball too. And so you add that extra aspect to your game, that's where and it's reflected in his fantasy value, is a completely different player from some of these guys.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And even speaking of all that, what are your thoughts on I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, but the commissioner of NCAA said until students go back to college, which is probably going to be a while, there will be no college sports. What are your thoughts about possibly college football getting prolonged if who knows what happens? But what are your thoughts on that?
It's really tough, and I speak personally, right? I mean, I'm a guy who'll be going to college playing baseball. At least it's baseball, right? So I give myself the best chance of going to do it. But even just going to college, you think of all these guys, guys who are going to be college freshmen in a similar position to myself, not only trying to play a sport and being recruited to go play college football, but also trying to assimilate to a school, and just it's all that uncertainty, man. It's crazy, and it's the right decision. It's not like you can play college sports. It's tough enough to play pro sports without fans and without, but then you add school, right? You can't play college sports if kids aren't in school. And so it's crazy. The uncertainty is unfortunate, but they're doing the right thing, right? I mean, there's nothing else you can do about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's just how life goes sometimes. But all I know is we need sports back. Everyone has been saying we need sports back. I mean, that's just the facts. And hopefully, I mean, Trump was on a phone call with Mark Cuban, Jerry Jones, Roger Goodell, Rob Manfred, and all those guys. So.
Yep. So, and I think in terms of Fauci's statement, again, we don't want to talk politics or any of that crap on this show, but big things are happening, and hopefully we will have sports soon.
Yeah.
We'll leave with that hope, I guess. That's about all we got. So,
and we need the Masters back. Remember, we need the Masters back.
For me, for the JD on the moon eating his Twizzlers, so long. Have a good night, and as always, stay safe.